Okay, so welcome to the inaugural show of the Marketing Mind. And today we are having a very special guest who has been, working into marketing for years and diving deep into the world of AI now. Mike Allton, the chief storyteller at Agorapulse. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Mike, you have been working into the digital marketing domain for a long time, and you have been working across the domains like social media, content marketing, and now you are going deep into the AI. Okay, so how do you think that it's just changing the game of the overall marketing? Okay, and per se the role of a marketer, who wish to use AI you know, from different perspective within their marketing strategy. How do you think that?
It's changing in every possible way. As a historian, I know that we're going through the fourth industrial revolution. A lot of people maybe didn't study history and they're not familiar with the industrial revolutions of the past, but during these periods in our history, going back a couple hundred years ago and then two others since then, the rate of change and the complete change that happened across all of society was astounding. It wasn't just a new marketing tech, as we've seen, like social media, for instance. Social
Right.
media wasn't an industrial revolution because it didn't necessarily impact how individuals went about their lives. AI is different. And it's incumbent on marketers to understand this and recognize the fact that everything they're doing today will be changed fundamentally tomorrow by AI. And I don't say this to be some kind of harbinger of doom or something like that, because there are many, many ways that marketers can adapt and continue to do a lot of the things that they love in the future. But if they put their head in the sand and they feel like, oh, if I just don't pay attention, AI will go away, they're
Yeah.
going to be sadly mistaken. That's not
Right.
what's going to happen. And so the marketers of today need to be thinking very proactively about what are the repetitive things that they're doing today, things that could potentially be automated if they had the right tools in front of them, which AI is probably going to do. And secondly, where do they bring value individually, whether it's their creativity, their judgment, their strategic thinking, their customer relationship, their communication. These are fundamentally human domains that AI is not
Right.
going to take away those things. But if you're a marketer and your job consists of doing the same thing day after day after day, you need to be thinking about, okay, how can I level up my
Yes.
skills and do something more strategic for the company?
But do you think, Mike, see, because when we see, marketers around, okay, be they are the freshers or they are the mid-level or they are the experienced ones, okay. But do you think that, there is a kind of a, compel, they have been compelled or, they have been forced or, they think that, if they don't use AI, they will stay back when it comes to the marketing race. Do you think do you think there is some kind of a mindset that, irrespective whether they know the AI, whether they are well equipped with the resources or tools, or they have the proper knowledge of AI, they are forced to use AI as a part of their marketing strategy. Is there a kind of compulsion that they have? If they don't use, they will stay behind from the competition. Is that kind of a mindset that people having today?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different opinions and mindsets, people all over the board. But generally speaking, I would say that we know, and we know this from organizations like the World Economic Forum, they've studied this. They see that millions of jobs are going to be impacted and transformed in the next 4 years, not like decades
Oh,
from now, in a matter
okay.
of years.
Oh,
And there'll be millions of jobs created. And so marketers need to be seeing that and realizing that, I probably need to change what I'm doing and rethink some of the things that I'm doing because AI is coming along and a lot of the tasks that marketers used to be able to do on their own reliably, AI
right.
can now do.
Correct.
very, very well. And we've got leaders like Sam Altman, CEO and founder of OpenAI, saying that he believes 95% of marketing could be done by AI in
Okay.
not very much time, like within the next probably 6 to 12 to 18 months tops. And we're seeing that. We're seeing the technology evolve that way with AI agents coming to the fore now with operator tools like deep research and so on. They can do a lot that marketers typically used to rely on. So I think everyone needs to be evaluating their role and their responsibilities in that way.
Okay. But as we say that moving ahead, AI will play the major role. Okay. But do you think that before they can start using, or before they can upgrade themselves with the AI into the marketing, okay, they need to be well equipped with some fundamental concepts of AI, specifically to the marketing domain, because see, AI has been doing miracles, and it has been used across the board, so not only per se for the marketing within the organization, but see, as a marketer who has been in this domain for last 15, 16 years, okay, so I may not be very well versed with how I can exactly use AI to specific areas. Okay, so let's say for example, social media, SEO, or content marketing, or a website. Okay, so do you think that before they can start go there, do they need to have some understanding of fundamental concepts of the AI, so they can avoid major blunders in the past, because we have seen that we have seen in the past that when something new comes up, people start jumping and start using it, and after some period of time they thought it was not my cup of cake. I should have gone back, and I should have got a little bit deep into that before I would have start using that. Do you think that this is the right time for the people now? Because as we are moving ahead with the AI and more usage will come into the marketing, people should also focus on the fundamentals of AI per se to the marketing.
The cool thing about AI to me is that while it is a fundamental shift in society and it is a technology, not a tool, like Canva's a tool. And if you've
Hmm.
never used Canva, I could tell you, oh, you use that to create images and edit images and
Correct.
graphics. And without even logging in, you probably get it.
Right. Right.
Artificial intelligence isn't that way. It's a technology layer like electricity, and
Correct.
it powers other kinds of tools and things. LLMs are an AI tool.
Right.
As a marketer, it's not as though you have to know how to code all of a
Okay.
sudden.
Yes.
There's
Right.
no really challenging aspect of using AI, generally
Okay.
speaking. Obviously,
Okay.
if you want to get into the specialized tools like a Salesforce or something like that, well, the Salesforce is complex and they've added an AI layer that allows us to do different things. But if we're simply talking about using Gemini and ChatGPT, yes, you need to know the fundamentals, but they're not highly technical. They're not hard to learn. In fact,
Correct.
most of us can figure out the fundamentals just by conversing back and forth with one of the LLMs. You don't have to use them all. You just pick one.
Right.
ChatGPT. Honestly, I use Gemini all the time. I recognize and I recommend people think about using Gemini when they might not have before, because they might already be paying for it. If they've got a Google One account, maybe
Correct.
they were paying for pixel storage or something like that. Like I was, I realized
Right.
8 months ago, I'm already paying Google $20 a month. I just needed to
Right.
convert the account to Google One, and now I have professional grade Gemini, and they can do so much just by talking back and forth with the AI. And here's another fundamental difference between AI and every other technology we've known.
Right.
If I wanted to learn Photoshop, I had to go through courses or I had to talk to
Correct.
people, maybe shadow people, something like that. I couldn't ask Photoshop. Yes, I could go into their help section, but that's not the same thing.
Right.
With the AI, you just ask it if you don't know
Yeah.
what to do. People
Correct.
ask me all the time, how do I get the AI to sound like me? And there's ways you can do that. You need to
Right.
usually create a custom instruction set or something like that. But if you've never set up custom instructions, if you've never created a gem in Gemini, open up a chat and just ask
Yeah.
Gemini, hey,
Yeah.
I want to make you sound like me. I want to create some custom instructions that have my brand voice. Ask me questions and let's figure this out.
So,
Tell me
so
how to
do
do
you
it.
think, Mike, it's more practice driven? It's the more people start using it, and they more become more, well equipped with that particular tool or technology, like especially with ChatGPT and Gemini. So they do you think it's more related to how often people use this technology or tool, and they become more friendly with it? But do you think, Mike, see, I personally use Gemini, I personally use ChatGPT as well. Okay, but that comes to that is very limited to when I have to uh, make a kind of a with reference to the content marketing or the social media. Okay, but when we talk about the advanced marketing concepts like the personalization or audience segmentation or predictive analytics, do you think there really is a need for the people to understand? See, because traditionally people have been using Google Analytics, Microsoft Analytics, so they have been using those kind of tools, which were and they have been upgraded themselves with the time. Okay, but when we see suddenly something that is very very advanced, okay, which uses audience segmentation, okay, or the bucketing of ICPs, okay. Do you think that is those areas where as a marketer, people should spend some more time to understand and grasp those kind of very technicalities and the advancements of those concepts?
Absolutely. What's interesting to me is if you're observing the different frontier models today,
Right.
OpenAI, Gemini, Meta,
Yeah.
you'll often see them promoting features or use cases that seem very basic, not marketing for sure. They don't talk about how
Right.
to use
Yes.
ChatGPT for marketing. They'll
Yes.
talk about how to use Meta to generate a custom avatar. They'll talk about
Right.
how to use OpenAI's Apparator, which is a $200 a month agent service, to make restaurant reservations or something like
Right.
that. And
Right.
it's really smart.
Yeah.
And a lot of marketers don't get it. They're like, well, how does that help me? What they're
Correct.
doing is making this knowledge mainstream, like you talked about before, because once
Mm.
the use of AI is mainstream, people are using it now every day. They're becoming accustomed to using the AI.
Correct.
Then it becomes
Right.
so much easier. And that's important because when we move on to the more advanced talking points and options and use cases, like you mentioned, like using it to study the analytics or
Yes.
creating different ICPs and different
Correct.
personalized messages for each one of those
Right.
ICPs,
Right.
it's incumbent to know at that point how this stuff works.
Correct.
We need to understand that it's not necessarily consuming all that information about our audience. It's guesstimating based on all the patterns it's
Correct.
seen in the past. And of course
Correct.
it's analyzing any information that we give it. So that allows us as marketers at that advanced level to realize, okay, there's certain things that I can reasonably expect this system to do really, really well. And there's other things I probably shouldn't expect that it should do. It can't
Right.
predict something it's never seen before.
Correct. Right. Okay. But do you think that when we speak of these advancements or when we speak of these technicalities, uh, AI is still has had certain kind of limitations that before they can go and start helping marketers uh, to use this advanced concept. So as a marketer, when you use AI, within your marketing, you know, are there any limitations that you think that uh, those can be very stopping the marketing people? So what they can do now or what they can do in the future? Are there any limitations to the AI right now when it comes to the marketing concepts?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, for one thing, out of the box, the LLMs that you're using, Gemini, ChatGPT, and so on, they're not inherently connected to other kinds of systems. So
Correct.
usually as marketers, we have to figure out a way to get relevant context and data and information into the LLM, and then we have to decide what to do with it next. So like if I'm trying to create a really engaging marketing campaign, it would be a really good idea to first feed the LLM all of my past email marketing campaigns, the subject lines, the content, what the open rate was, and that kind of data, so that it can look at how my campaigns have performed in the past and
Correct.
make really smart recommendations on how they can perform in the future. What I just said sounds straightforward, but
Right.
depending on your email marketing system, that might not be straightforward at all.
Correct.
You might
Right.
not be
Right.
able to export a simple
Right.
spreadsheet that has that data. So then you got to figure
Correct.
that out. Assuming you do that, which a lot of marketers won't do,
Correct.
because that's data analysis a lot of people just don't bother with, right? But assuming you can do that, then you input all that into the CRM or into the ChatGPT or Gemini,
Right.
and you get some advice from it. You still have to think about it as a human. Does this make sense what it's telling me? It won't always make sense. And I'll give you an example. I use, like I said, Gemini, and I have a
Yeah.
custom Gemini gem
Yeah.
called my AI Chief of Staff, and I've trained
Okay.
it on everything about my business, me personally, my voice, my audience, my
Oh,
goals for the year. It knows that I want to focus on St. Louis businesses and industries here in St. Louis so that I could do more local workshops and training. So when I talk to it about sending a newsletter to my email subscribers, the first thing it wants to do is have me start talking about AI use in St. Louis.
right.
And as a human, I had to stop and say, I have 47,000 subscribers. Most of them are not in St. Louis. They're not going to be interested in St. Louis. Now, if
Right.
I could segment them, that'd be different. So
Right.
you have to have that human in the loop. And then finally, if you are able to do all that and you come up with a fantastic email campaign, it still stops there at the LLM. You have to extract the subject, the pre-header, the content, whatever it is that you created inside the LM. It's incumbent upon you to put that into your email marketing software. And that's just one example, because like I said, the systems aren't yet interconnected. Now in 12 to 18 months, we're going to see more and more instances where, okay, these AI systems can connect. They'll start by connecting to some of the most popular systems, usually the CRMs like Salesforce and HubSpot, and then filter out to WordPress websites and email systems, and we'll see more connectivity and data flowing back and forth then.
But do you think, Mike, see, as we said that, the marketer should have that understanding, to feed that data to get the some, relevant, strategy or, insights for their upcoming, marketing campaigns. But do you think that, see, as we are moving ahead, as we have started using ChatGPT, Gemini, okay, or AI video creator or image creation, tools. Do you think that as a marketer, okay, because see, when we started marketing, we were on our own. Okay, we had to go back to the people, talk to the customers. Okay, acquire some new ideas. Okay, because there were a lot of tool dependency as well at that particular period of time. But do you think that with the coming period, especially the new marketers, okay, who are entering into the marketing domain and who has exposure to these kind of tools, do you think that the kind of a laziness they might
Hmm.
have within their thought process, within their application of the marketing strategies, or do you think they will become more reliable, rather I say they more dependent on the AI rather than using or applying their own mindset or a strategy or an experience? And do you think it will also eliminate, a kind of, that need of, the interaction with the customers or interaction with, the peer marketers for the strategy? Do you think that will that's kind of a dangerous situation that we have?
I think that's a really insightful concern, because the
Right,
truth is today, I can open up ChatGPT or Gemini on behalf of any business and say,
right,
hey, this is my business. Tell me who my target audience should be.
right.
And it'll tell you. It won't push back and say,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I don't really have enough information. It will
Correct.
tell
Yes,
you,
yes,
and it will sound good.
yes.
It might not be good, but it will sound
Sound good.
good.
Correct.
And then
Yes.
you could use that to create content, which might look great. But at
Yes.
no point in that process have you actually talked to a customer.
Right.
And if you aren't actually talking to customers or prospects or whoever it is that you're trying to communicate to, you're not going to know, number one, if the AI is actually generating a good picture of what they look like and who they
Right.
are and what they're actually concerned.
Right.
And it's going to be really challenging to pick up on their actual language. Like one of the blessings I have at Agorapulse, where I still work full time, I interview our customers for success stories.
Oh,
So
okay.
I get to hear the
Right.
actual language that they use when they're talking about our product. And they're
Right.
not parroting back at me what they read in our blog, but that's what an AI will do. An
Correct.
AI is consuming all the information that's out there. So the AI is consuming the information that Agorapulse puts out about Agorapulse, or
Right.
you, listener, your brand, whatever you put on your website, that's what the AI is looking at. The AI is not actually talking to your customers.
Correct.
And so you're right. It is going to be a slippery slope, a very tempting bit of laziness to just accept whatever the AI gives us and push that out there.
Okay. And do you think Mike, over the years, especially last 2 3 years, okay, because as a senior marketing leader, we are tend to work with the CXOs, okay, the upper layer of the organization, okay, and what they see around, okay, what they see around, how AI is changing the overall landscape, be it business, be it revenue, be it sales, be it marketing, be it processes. What I have feel so far is that even the CXOs who are sitting, at the top, okay, they have also that kind of eagerness, okay, I would say, and that kind of compulsion towards the marketing, as a department, not as an individual, okay, not as a process, but as a department that they should inculcate or include more of an AI in their marketing processes, so which can help them save time, some money, okay, some resources, okay, for that matter as well. So, do you think that is there any way where we can actually make the people aware, okay, that yes, AI is there, it's here, and it's going to help us, but not immediately that what you are expecting from a oral marketing, the setup, and it will take some time. Do you think that the CXOs who are sitting there should be also be made aware of this kind of arrangement, or the reality rather, I would say, that yes, this will take time. You know?
What's really interesting about artificial intelligence that we're seeing in the data from surveys of businesses around the world, the most recent one that I saw was Lightricks and the American Marketing Association. They're finding that it's actually the C-suite that's adopting this technology at a far higher rate
Right,
than the practitioners and technicians lower in the organization. So
right,
the first part of your question is, what are the C-suite thinking about this? Do we need to convince them? Generally not. Generally, it's the C-suite that's taking the fore.
okay,
And where they're lagging is in training and education of the rest of the organization. But
right,
from a perspective, what I want people to understand is regardless of what department you're in, there are basically three areas in which AI is going to help you
okay,
and your organization. The
okay,
first is in time savings, efficiency, that sort of thing. When you're able to find a few things that you're doing that's repetitive and that sort of thing, preparing for emails and meetings, as soon as you begin to apply AI, you start to save some time. And in each instance that you're able to find where you can inject AI, even if it's only going to save you a couple minutes here and there, that adds up relatively quickly. And that can be a really, really large benefit to businesses. And if that was the only thing, that would still be huge. Because imagine
right,
if everybody in your organization had 10% of their time back.
correct,
That could be potentially really, really huge for the organization. But then the second major improvement that we see after they start to inject AI into specific processes and existing workflows is all of a sudden the level of quality and consistency improves
correct,
because AI is more consistent than we are as humans. It doesn't get
right,
tired, it's distracted or rushed, right? So it's doing thing at a higher flawless rate than everything
right,
else. So now we're doing things faster, we're doing things more
Okay.
consistently. And when you do those things together, well, that opens up the third bucket of opportunity for every business, and that is strategic insights. All
Right.
of a sudden now you've got more data and more information, and you've got more time on your hands. You're doing things more consistently, and that opens up the possibility to do things that you never could do before as an organization. Again, this
Right.
is regardless of department. This is true for customer support, marketing, sales, leadership, across the board. So leaders are already starting to see this. The rest of the organization, they're the ones who need to be brought up aboard and trained. And when they're shown this, they
Yeah.
realize that, oh, AI isn't here to take my job. It's here to take all the garbage off of my plate that I don't want
Correct.
to do anyways,
Right.
and give me time to focus on more creativity and strategic aspects.
Okay. My, you know, see, as we saw that, AI is into data, AI is into ICPs, okay, or AI is into voice search, okay, or AI is into chatbots, especially so AI is covering the almost the every aspect of marketing business, okay. But do you think that, moving ahead, okay, see, because now we are, as we are moving ahead, we are becoming more data dependent. Okay, the focus is from the marketing perspective, the focus is to become more data rich. Okay, more data, more data friendly. So, do you think there is a specific area that AI should focus, moving ahead, within the marketing perspective, be it audience segmentation, be it predictive analytics, or be it voice search? What is the area that you think that AI should be more developed towards that particular area? So it will really help marketers moving ahead.
The answer is nuanced because it does depend somewhat on the size of the organization and the resources
Okay,
available. And I say that because one of the most powerful areas that I see helping marketers is, to your point, segmentation and personalization.
right,
When you're able to know based on the data who your audience is, the various segments of the audience, and then do dramatic personalization. I mean, we're talking about, obviously not just first name, but
right,
interspersing different kinds of content, different offers, and that sort of thing based on who you are and how you've interacted in the past. That's extraordinarily powerful. But
correct,
today, that's not something that LLMs can do on their
right,
own. You still need more advanced systems like Salesforce or something like that that have that level of capability using AI, but it's still baked
right,
into a system that can use the AI in strategic ways.
right,
So for smaller systems, for smaller businesses, that's still going to remain somewhat of a distant possibility. Probably not for long, based on what I mentioned earlier ago, right?
right.
As we go in the next year or two,
Yes,
by 2027,
yeah,
virtually every system you're using is going to be integrated with ChatGPT or Gemini or have that option. So you'll have that capability very soon, which is what makes AI really remarkable. It's democratizing
yes.
capabilities that used to be like enterprise grade only. You know, oh, you want to work with us? Great. It's going to be at least $50,000 a year. Small businesses can't afford to spend that kind of money on a single marketing
So,
tool.
but Mike, do you think that, as you said that, by 2027, there will be a lot of things that, we will be shifting within the marketing. But, genuinely, do you think there is a challenge, okay, uh, to, because there has always been a discussion that, AI will take up the jobs, okay, that, it will reduce the dependency on the humans and it will become more AI driven. So do you think that within the marketing also that there is a challenge or there is a threat that that people may have this kind of a fear within their mind that uh, will I lose my job or is there any threat to my job? And do you think is it going to happen within specifically within the marketing domain?
Yeah, within marketing, the people who will lose their jobs are the ones who resist AI,
Okay,
whether it's at the individual level or the department or the company level. In fact, I'll tell
okay,
you all listening right now, if
yeah,
you're in an organization where you want to pursue AI training and adoption, but
right,
your boss or the leadership in your organization is resisting that, get a new job today.
Yeah.
Do not stay in that organization, because the organization as a whole will be harmed, will fall
Okay.
behind AI powered competitors that can move faster, help customers better, and operate more efficiently. And then they're going to put your job at risk. So if you're in that situation, move. But if that's not you, if you're someone who's thinking, oh, this is like social audio, and if I just ignore it, it'll go away. Sorry, you're wrong.
Yes.
It's different. It's not like social
Yes.
audio. It's not like niche social networks like Blue Sky, where I could probably safely ignore that if I wanted to, or
Correct.
Clubhouse with social audio. It's not like that. It is truly a fundamental shift in how we do business and how we operate as businesses. And we have to train ourselves and adapt. And that means figuring out, what can I do as an individual that's going to be of higher value work, and what can I push to the AI. The business leaders, they have that same responsibility. They need to be looking at
Correct.
what tasks in the organization are better suited for machines, and which require uniquely human things like empathy and judgment and connection, and where can we lean on AI's processing power and consistency and that sort of thing. And I say this because all of the major models, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, they're very public about where they're going with their development. They're all trying to get to artificial general intelligence, AGI, and they're very clear about what that means, which means within about 24 months, businesses will be able to go to OpenAI and pay
Okay.
OpenAI 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month for an AI agent that can handle their entire marketing department.
Right.
That's not science fiction. That's what's
Yeah.
coming very soon. And if the AI can do all the repetitive tasks like run your ads and set up your new landing pages and create your marketing campaigns and respond to customer inquiries and prospects, what's left for the humans to do? There's
Right.
a lot, but you need to think about that. It's not necessarily evident, and unfortunately, these AI systems aren't the ones who are going to tell you that. OpenAI is not telling you as the marketer, here's what your role is going to look like in 5 years. Honestly, I don't think they care, but they're not telling us that. So it's incumbent upon us to figure that out. Like at Agorapulse, my entire job now is talking to prospects and
Right.
customers. The AI can't do that. It can't
Correct.
interview prospects for a podcast. It can't interview customers for success stories. I'm doing that. And as long as the content that I create is valuable to the company, I'm not going to be replaced by AI. Now, I'm using
Right.
AI every step of the way to help me prepare for these shows and process the content afterwards. But the core of what I'm doing is still very strategic and based upon the fundamental principle of connecting with the people that are important to us.
Okay. So as we as we are moving ahead. Okay. So uh, what piece of advice that you would like to give to the people, as you say that people who are going to restrain themselves or who are not ready to change, okay, will have to you know do something or the other, or so what piece of advice that you will will give to the marketers that who are new to this business, okay, or even who are into the business for a long time but they are resistant to change, okay, because they have been taught in that way that let's do the things in this way, okay, and they are not allowed to think out of the box, or get a little bit away from their processes, or their traditional approaches. So what piece of advice that you would like to give them?
I think one of the things that I've developed that has been one of the most helpful things to me in my AI journey is having a personalized custom AI assistant that I can turn to help me with very specific job functions, but also think very strategically about my role. It's that AI chief of staff I mentioned before. I can turn to it any time of day. And this is for my own side hustle, the AI hat, right? Where I'm a
Yeah,
solopreneur. There isn't anybody else in this room that I can turn
yeah,
to for anything. I can't ask them
yeah.
how to do something. I can't ask them for advice. I can't say, hey, I'm thinking about going in this direction with my business. What do you think? I've got a similar setup at Agorapulse for my chief storyteller role. And this has been so invaluable to me. I decided a while ago I wanted to communicate how other people could have this kind of personalized AI. And at first, I thought I would create a prompt for them. They would just copy and paste into whatever LLM they wanted to.
Okay.
And as I worked with my AI chief of staff to develop this prompt and all the things that it would need to know to recreate itself on behalf of you, right? If you, Kapil, wanted to go into Gemini and create your own AI chief of staff, there were like 20 or 30 questions that it needs to ask you. What's your website? What's your business name? What's your role? Do you have people who report to you? Do you report to somebody else? How big is your overall team? What are your goals for the year? What are you really challenged with? What marketing channels do you have? How would you like to communicate? Do you want the AI to be, very formal or casual, witty, supportive, empathetic? All these options. It ended up being quite large. So I worked with my AI chief of staff and we created a PDF document that has all of these questions and
That's
instructions
really great.
for any LLM. And now the prompt is just a paragraph. The paragraph says, hey, you're going to help me. And you just give this to like ChatGPT, right? The prompt says, hey, you're going to create for me an AI work buddy, which is a personalized AI assistant. And you're going to use the attached file to ask me a bunch of questions. And after you've asked me all those questions, you're going to give me the complete text that I can then copy and paste into a custom instruction. And this is revolutionary for businesses, particularly individuals who are resisting AI or they just don't know where to begin.
Correct.
So now they can get this at theaihat.com
Okay.
/ AI work buddy, all one word. And it's free. You can download the PDF for free and the prompt is there. And once you're done, you're going to install this into whatever LLM you want, whether it's a custom GPT or a Gemini gem, and some instructions are on there as well as how to do that. And now you've got somebody you can turn to day
That,
or
that,
night.
that will be really helpful.
Just start talking to it. Already knows who you are and what you do and all that context. And it makes adopting AI so much faster and easier and more effective.
That's really great, Mike. And I would really like to thank you for your valuable time. Okay. And it's been a pleasure for me to have you on my inaugural show. And I'm hoping that we will connect again. Okay, because this is going to be the lengthy discussion, and we will definitely like to hear you more on AI and the overall marketing concepts and in the work you are doing in the AI. And it's a really pleasure and honor for me to have you on my show. And I would like to thank you for your time and all the insights that you have shared with us. Thanks for your time. Thank
My pleasure. Thank you.
you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.